What's up? Today was a pretty easy Monday. How about you guys? Is it Monday? Yeah. Um, yeah, it was pretty easy. Um, my ops guy decided to, I don't know, he went home and didn't tell me anything about it. Like there's some calls, he answers some people, he won't answer some, he doesn't answer me all day. He sent me a text first thing in the morning. Hey, the yard guy and the mechanic got everybody ready today. I didn't even have to do anything. And I said, awesome, because I'm genuinely happy that his job was easier. And then he didn't answer me all day. Um, I had some questions about some things, and I wanted to see if he could help me out with whatever. Um, so I don't know. It's just weird. So then I saw the mechanic and the yard guy. It was around, I'm just guessing, it was around 1 o'clock. And I said, hey, when was the last time you guys talked to Jose? And they're like, we talked to him first thing in the morning when he was here. And I said, well, since he left, when have you talked to him? He's like, no, they haven't. It's like, and they're like, we've asked him questions, but he didn't answer us. And I was like, what kind of questions? So he told me. I'm like, wow, that's pretty, like, I'm surprised he wouldn't answer you on that. Um, but then we had a mow guy who had to skip a lawn because it was too wet, and he called Jose, and apparently Jose said it was okay. So I don't know what's going on, but luckily everything was handled today, and it was a good day. But I will say, my the person that I was going to hire, or not hire, I had an interview today with. It was supposed to be with the videographer and the editor, and guess what? Didn't show up. So now I will give him credit on this one. I think it was early this morning that he said he's not going to be able to make it. He has to go out of town to finish moving. Then he's coming back. And so I think he said tomorrow he'd like to have an interview. Which, by the way, I had an interview today, with what you would probably call an ops manager, but I didn't end up like he wasn't going to take the job today, and I wasn't going to offer him the job today. We both just wanted to meet, and it was a great interview. It was really awesome. Um, so I think he could be a good help to the team, and in fact, he said that you know we'll talk about things, and if we can work something out, great. I do want to work here, but before I do get hired here, if I get hired, I want to meet the management team first, so that in case I rub anybody the wrong way, we'll all know about it before he takes the job. You know what I mean? So I thought that was actually kind of cool. We never actually hired anybody who came in and would be like first day in the room with us. You know what I mean? We've hired people that we've trained, and then like kind of were in the room with us, so to speak. You know what I mean? Um, but we trained them and brought them in, but never somebody who was like hired to be part of the team right from the start. Oh no, I'm getting a bunch of messages again. Hi, how are you? Um, I always get weary with those kind of messages. What's up, Walter? Hello. Um, yeah, so I'm just trying to keep up with my video posting, and if you guys have any questions, let me know. Try to pronounce the longest German word. Oh no. Uh, man, I remember when YouTube was like actually people who wanted to watch your videos, not like, I don't know, people spamming and stuff, which I think is pretty funny nowadays. let's see. Yeah, what's going on, guys? So I'm still on this hiring trip. Now, my office manager is like, bro, why are you hiring anybody? Don't hire, do you need anybody now? Like, I mean, things are slowing down as far as office stuff goes, slowing down, but I mean, there's still a lot of sales to be made. I feel like if we hired somebody that could do sales, who can you know, help with estimates with Rachel, I think that would help us. Now, obviously, I need a sprinkler dispatcher, but I'm not like I need somebody that's a sprinkler tech to be that position. So I told this guy, I'm like, because he's like, I could probably do that too. And I'm like, no, you can't. Feeling the constant raining every other day here for several months now, man, that would suck. I didn't know what you guys were talking about, or not talking about, but like, I didn't know what you guys were going through when I'd hear like these markets that are always raining. I'm like, man, that sucks. But it was raining for us here early spring, like every other day, and it really was really hurting us. And I can't even imagine what you guys go through where it rains all the time. That's gotta suck. So technically, Utah is like a desert. So it doesn't rain very much here. When it does, like everybody's like, "Oh yes, thank you so much." But it's been raining even last spring too a lot. But this year was pretty bad. It was like every other day for like a month and a half, and I don't wish that on anybody in this industry, man. Constant pain of rain. Do you work for a high salary? Yeah, I guess so. You could say that. Say I work for a high salary. I will tell you this. I used to complain a lot. No, yeah, I guess I could use that word. I would complain a lot at the complaints that I would get, right? So, like, had a hard day of customers complaining and be like, oh man, I'm getting my ass kicked. I hate this job. I hate working. And then I paid myself really good. Or eventually I started paying myself really good. And now the complaints are like, okay, well, that's why I get paid. That's why I get paid the big bucks to deal with these complaints. Which actually I don't deal with all the complaints either, but there is a sense of like it's part of the job when you're making good money. You know what I mean? So I will say that over 30 inches of rain, usually 11 to 15. Yeah, that's nuts. Uh, our other pain here sometimes is when it snows, and then it stops snowing, but it's so cold that the snow never melts. That's bad too, man. And that happens on some spring years where it's like all of April and the snow is still like the day it snowed, um, even though it was probably like 3 weeks ago. That sucks because now then you're waiting for it to get hot and waiting for the sun to come out just to melt it, and you can't really work. But that was one of the things I talked about with this guy that I interviewed today. I'm gonna call him. I don't know what position to call him. I'm gonna call him estimator because we are looking for an estimator. And he said he could do that. So he wanted to look at one of our estimates. So I pulled one up on our computer, and he looked at it, and then he was talking to me about it. And yeah, he had his opinion, he had his thoughts on things and how he would approach it and how to sell things. Um, so I thought that was kind of cool. But I definitely liked how he is casual yet. I mean, just imagine you brought somebody in who's been in the industry for like 30 years, um, and he knew like how to say everything perfectly, right? Like he knew what I wanted to hear, but imagine having an employee who knows what you want to hear and says what you want to hear, but then they also throw in like plant names, sprinkler parts and sprinkler repairs and landscaping stuff, and how he would try to add water features to every landscaping project. And then he was telling me about the landscaping water features. And the funny thing is, the one example that he gave was like the last one that we've done. So it was really refreshing to see that, like, wow, like I could see him doing that for real. Oh man, sticky snow sucks. It does. It does. Yeah, and Walter, you were here when it was snowing. You need to come back. You have an open invitation, bro. Come back one one winter or whenever you want. I hired an experienced guy in lawn and landscaping. Now we have enough to get things done and not work so much overtime on weekends. So do you try to keep all your people on 40 hours or what? So my main landscaper, his team last week worked 67 hours. Him and his team. So three people on the one team, they worked 67 hours. And now this guy, I shouldn't say this guy, he's freaking awesome. My landscape leader, freaking awesome. Love that guy. Um, so he's having an argument with his helpers. I don't know. They're feeling like he goes to get materials and he takes too long, and I don't know. I don't know the whole story, and I don't know if they've squashed it by now. They may have, so I may just be like just talking about what has happened, not what is still happening. And anyway, so he said to me, "Well, sometimes I'll leave them because then they'll get more hours if I don't help them. They're learning how to do it, so they're doing more of those jobs without me, and they're getting more hours. If I go and help them, it's going to reduce their hours by a lot, and they're not going to learn as much." And I was like, "Man, I think that's a great idea. I think that's like I could see how you guys are. Some of you are thinking, man, oh my gosh, they're milking the clock. He's milking the clock." I don't think so. And not only that, the guy is badass. The guy is awesome. So this has been a topic for a while with this team, on and off. Like it's been slowly starting to simmer, like get worse. I would say, but again, it could have all been squashed by now. But early on, there was rumblings of like that happening, and I've talked to this leader about this, and he makes total sense. It makes total sense. And remember, the landscaper is the landscaper. The helpers are the helpers. So as long as the jobs get done and his team is happy, well, I do care if his team is happy for sure, but really, if he doesn't like his team, he has the ability to get a new team. You know what I mean? Um, that's kind of my stance on that whole thing. But I obviously want them to get along because they're all a good team. They're a good team. But in his mind, he has to tell them what to do. And so in his mind, he's like, well, I can train more people if they want. But I'm doing what's in the best interest of them. They just don't know it, or they don't want to see that. So this week, which is this pay period, which was last week, um, he started helping them a lot, and they went from 67 hours to 47 hours, and the revenue is pretty much the same that they brought in. So now his bonus is huge because of that. So pretty much he's still making out like a bandit, which we knew he would, and he knew he would. So he was willing to take a smaller bonus to help his team get more hours. Um, anyway, So we kind of worked it out. What I ended up doing was I gave his helpers a raise, and he was happy about that because his team was getting taken care of, and that's all he wants. He wants his team to be happy. They want to come to work and stuff. But you know how it is. I mean, they can all make a ton of money, and they see one guy going to get materials. They're going to get jealous. They're going to be upset. They're going to feel like they're working harder, which that's the case with everything, right? But you just have to know, like, well, can you really do everything that your team leader can do? Can you? You know, do you have? Can you drive? Do you have a driver's license? You know, you got to think of a lot of stuff. That goes into that. So I got some text, some comments here. The only thing that matters in life is how much you love someone, how much they love you, and how much you love your job. Okay, I'll take that. Walter, there's a lot of hours. Yes, the guys were working over 50 to 60 hours and we're getting burnt out. So I'm okay with the 40, 45. I got guys who would like, so here's the deal. My Mo guys, for whatever reason, they don't care about working 50 hours. They're fine with 35, 40, and that's fine. My garden guys, my garden maintenance guys, dude, they don't think 60 hours is enough. Those guys will work. If I told them, dude, you can't clock out, you just have to work all through the night, dude, they would be in heaven. They would be in heaven. Um, and my landscape manager, my landscape leader, now that he got his first real big bonus because they hauled ass. Um, it'll be interesting to see how that's going to play out. And I've already told my garden manager to watch for that as we were figuring out his bonus. And I said, hopefully, this is the start of like getting better since he can do more jobs. His bonus will be bigger, he does more jobs, but his guys would get more burnt out. But it's really interesting to see because, like, you know, the team leaders are always really smart. They're always smart. So I could see him saying to me, like, hey, on Thursday and Friday, can I bring a new team so they're not so burnt out? I could just see that happening, like, because, dude, you had an opportunity to make more money, you'll do it. And now that he's got a taste of what it is, I have a feeling he's not going to want to stop doing that. So let's see. Totally, they need to practice. They need to learn for sure. Hi, Valentina. Eduardo, I like your setup. I'm rolling into something similar. Keep on cutting. Hell yeah. Yeah, so I got my ninth Mo truck this week. So I'm really excited. I'm excited, but we don't have 9 Mo guys. We got 7. Actually 6. So I've got 3 available trucks with no mowings on them. But that's really exciting for me because if I tomorrow found 3 Mo guys that were good, that were really good, we could launch a mowing campaign and get a ton of mowings, tons. So anyway, guys, I'm here at my stop. I just want to make a quick video. Walter, I saw this post where it said Caucasians are mad asking for less hours and Latinos are mad because you aren't giving them enough hours. Oh, that's funny. All right, guys. Well, have a good night. Talk to y'all later.